update on the living quarters conditional use permit.
Okay, I had a phone call last Thursday from, received, return phone call from Mr. Hill. She is selling the house down here. Miss Jansen's buying it. Not sure what her plans are, but she's supposed to get with me within the next couple of weeks to give us an idea of what her timeline is to, my assumption is she's going to fix the house. I don't know for sure. But I said we'd give her time to come up with a plan and we'll see what we can do all that, so. Also, I got a call from Mr. Hunt on the house over on Q. He apologized for not getting us the letter he promised. It should be in the mail, hopefully this week, of the plans that he discussed back last month on that one, so. And as far as the living quarters, we had our public hearing. There was no dissension, from anybody. In the planning meeting, we passed it. It conforms to all the parameters. So the planning committee unanimously said to put this forward. So just, food for thought when you have your public hearing and the meeting
on. Anybody have any comment on any of that?
Can you guys remind me what that conditional use permit is?
It's for they're putting that apartment in south of the bank.
Oh,
Dental office.
Gotcha.
Or
Okay.
Jim, did you get us a list of the houses that we talked about?
I'm working on it. I've got some started. I can instead of just do what I want to, I just go ahead and see what looked and then we can pick however you all want to do it. So I haven't quite got there with
That's
other stuff
fine,
going on, but yeah, I am working on it.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yep.
any other comments or anything on that? Okay, next up is Mike Kelly, open meeting act violations.
All right. So I printed off some violations. I'll read through them here shortly.
Thank you.
So I have some questions and concerns of the behavior of the Mayor, Becky Robinson, that I would like to address. I'm asking the council to hear me out on my concerns as I ask the mayor a series of fair questions and give her a fair chance to defend herself against her actions. I would appreciate the opportunity to speak uninterrupted without threats from the mayor threatening to close the meeting early or not let me finish speaking. When I finish speaking, I will ask the council to review what my concerns are, and at that point, ask to you to consider if there's been any open meeting act violations that you can see that were made, and hold the mayor, Becky Robinson, accountable for her actions. In addition to this, I've requested the Furnace County Sheriff's Department to start an investigation into the Mayor, Becky Robinson. Also, in addition to the investigation, I've started another investigation with County Attorney Patrick Hawkins. Also, the Attorney General Mike Hilger's office, as well as Governor Jim Pillen's office, is all involved about what's going on here. I feel the actions taken against me, the lies that have been spread against me, the discrimination that I can prove has been done against me, slander, and a multitude of other violations toward me started with the previous Mayor Leighton Schmidt and intensified with this Mayor, Becky Robinson. It's caused my family and I irreversible financial and psychological damage, and I intend to hold them responsible for their actions. Their abuse of power and relentlessness towards me and my family have been mostly unchecked. I have attempted to handle these matters directly with her and have had no luck. I will attempt again to obtain satisfactory answers to my concerns again today. So, if that's okay, I would like to ask you a series of simple questions, and then I'll go over the packets that I submitted to you guys. So, why is this particular meeting in the community building?
This is not part of the violation of the Open Meetings Act, just because we moved the meeting. If you have questions, I'm gonna defer you to our attorney on that.
Okay. Why is this particular meeting in this building?
And you can email those over to me if you'd like.
I'm happy to.
If there's open investigations, then I don't want the council presenting on anything tonight. But you can feel free to finish your speech.
So we can't answer why the meeting's here? Is it nothing to do with, for over a year, they haven't been able to provide adequate seating for the guests? Nothing to do with that? Okay. So when did you take over as mayor? Are you allowed to answer that?
Mike, if this is an Open Meetings Act and you're wanting to litigate, I have to defer you to the attorney on that.
So you don't want to answer that when you took over as mayor? Is that a fair question to ask, or is that confidential?
It's not confidential, and I think you can look at public records for that.
Okay. If you recall, the first time that I met with you was 1/17/23. I asked you what your duties were as the mayor. Do you recall that conversation?
Again, this is not a question and answer session, so go ahead and speak.
Okay. Your answer was that the job of the mayor was to break a tie vote and overlook the actions of the city council. Vote is needed. Is that fair to say that that's what the answer was? So, and then I would just ask you directly if you, to your knowledge, have created any Open Meeting Act violations. Is that a fair question to ask, or is that also confidential?
I'm not saying anything is confidential, I'm just saying this isn't a question and answer.
Okay. My next question would be, would not allowing a Beaver City citizen to speak at the meeting or to be on the agenda when they have emailed and had submitted a request well within required timeline be on the agenda? If they were not allowed to do that, would that be considered a violation? And it doesn't have to be just this town, any vicinity, any town, would that be considered a violation?
Again, this is not question and answers. If you want to forward these to my office, I can look over them.
Okay. So if that was done and there was refused, and they also refused to communicate any type of response to that said meeting, would a failed allowance to allow the guests to speak and then a failure to give any type of response of why they were not allowed to speak, would that be any type of Open Meetings Act violation?
Mr. Kelly, I think it would be more efficient of your time to state what you think the violations are instead of asking questions.
Well, if I'm not gonna get an answer, it doesn't really seem that would make much difference, would it?
I'm not asking you to ask a question, I'm asking you to state what you believe the violations are.
Well, I have stacks of them from over a year. I have newspaper articles here. You guys are welcome to look through. You're welcome to look through where you've admitted openly in the newspaper that you refuse to allow people to have seating. That's an Open Meetings Act violation. There's also, in the same newspaper, it discusses things that are on this packet that I gave you guys. Page 1 of this packet that I gave you guys is a clear communication asking for people to be on the agenda. And you refused without any type of response of why. Multiple times. That's page 1. It shows clear communications well beyond the time that we requested to have people speak. One of the ladies stood up and spoke during an open forum, and you belittled her and made her look like an absolute fool in front of everybody. She was a black lesbian and you discriminated against her in front of everybody. Do you recall that, or would you like us to show you the video? Right here is the communications. We hand submitted it and we emailed it, and you refused to let us talk. You refused to let them talk, and you belittled her in front of everybody. So page 2 shows another time that you went ahead and changed the rules. As far as I know, there was never any voting where you allowed anybody to have any say that you changed the rules for anybody to get on the agenda. Once again, it's up to your discretion, right? Can you provide any time that this was discussed with the city council and voted on and approved? Because all the council members I talked to said it never happened. It was another time that you changed the rules and abused your authority. Page 3, it's another discussion. When Kenny Becker was mayor, I did all the city maintenance on all the vehicles. When Leighton took over, he discriminated against me and threatened to fire Grant for bringing me work, and told everybody on the council, I have multiple witnesses, that if any work was brought to my businesses, they'd be terminated. I let it ride out, and then you took over, and I asked you why the city refuses to conduct business with any of my local businesses. You refused to answer over and over and over and over. And I finally got you to answer one time, and you quoted, you stated that I had kept the city dump truck for several months, the bill was too high, and I did not repair the vehicle correctly. I sent you an email follow-up. This is the copy of the email, page 3. And it says, I do not recall this business transaction, or do I have record of it happening. I consider your comments to be slanderous and malicious. You also stated this is why you and Leighton Schmidt refused to conduct business with any of my local businesses. As you know, I've attempted several times to engage into why Leighton Schmidt threatened to terminate city employees if they brought me city vehicles and supported my business. I have attempted to engage with you also, and all of my attempts were ignored until yesterday's meeting. I cannot locate any work that has been done in my repair facility that fits the description of your statement made at the 4/15/24 meeting. Would you please provide the documentation, invoice, email, checks, or any validation of your statement? I'm requesting you personally to provide these documents to me, or I could submit you a